Hi everyone, it's Melissa, and today I wanted to talk about Greenwood by Michael Christie. I wanted to talk about this book for two reasons. One, because I really enjoyed it and I think it would appeal to a lot of readers. And also because what drew me to the book isn't necessarily what it's really about, and I think the premise or how it's been pitched might turn some people off the book that would otherwise enjoy it. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but give you a general sense of really what this book is about and why I liked it so much. So what drew me to the book was it's been talked about as an apocalyptic book, and I love apocalyptic fiction and dystopian fiction. And there is an element of that here. The book starts in the year 2038, and there has been an environmental crisis where the majority of trees have disappeared and there's little pockets left. And our main character at the beginning of the book works at this essentially nature preserve, but more like a resort where tourists come and view and gawk at the trees, and she is a tour guide on this walk. The element of environmental catastrophe is what drew me to the book, but if you are not really into apocalyptic fiction, don't let that deter you. This really is not what the book is about. It begins and ends in the year 2038, but there's all this stuff in the middle that doesn't really have to do with that, and I would say it's a topic in the book and it's not really foundational to the book. What this book really is a multi-generational saga. It is a sweeping tale of this one family, the Greenwoods. It is a family story that is told through the generations. We go back in 30 to 40 year increments, and slowly the secrets of this family are unraveled through each generation that you see. Greenwood really is a good mix of plot and character. There's no one central character. You see a lot of different perspectives, and it's almost like the Greenwood family becomes a character in and of itself. The characters are all fascinating in their own way. You spend more time with some characters than others, but at the end, I feel like you do get a sense of what motivates each character, because they are all motivated by very different things, and each perspective feels like each point of view feels very distinct. Something that I found really interesting and that I think worked really well in this book is the presence of nature in this book and how it shifts with the different points of view. Forests, trees have been an important part of the Greenwood story, and trees are a central part of this family's history. So as you're following the family story, trees are always kind of at the crux of it, but in ever changing ways. So you follow at one point the perspective of a forester, of an industrialist who views trees as a resource, as commodity. You follow the perspective of a family member who is a hermit and who makes a meager living tapping maple trees to make syrup. And their perspective and how they relate to trees is they see the forest as a form of freedom, that they can live off the land and separate from society. You follow the perspective of a family member who is an environmental activist and views trees as beings that need protection. There's a carpenter whose relationship with trees is viewing them in terms of being things of beauty. And there's a botanist who sees trees, sees forests in terms of their ecological importance. So trees are always kind of at the center, but how they're relating to the family story is constantly shifting throughout the narrative. And the narrative is really compelling. So, like I said, the characters are really fascinating and there's a lot of great characterization in this book, but the plot is present. It's not a meandering story. There is a through line where you are desperately kind of seeking answers, trying to dive deeper into the family's secrets as you read on, and just to better understand how this family came to be what it is. Something else I really appreciated about the book, and I think worked really well in its favor, is how it was structured. So you start in 2038, at a time when there has been environmental catastrophe where trees have all but disappeared, and you go back generation to generation, every 30 to 40 years. Near the beginning of the book, it's pretty clear that there has been a family rift between two brothers, and as you inch towards the earliest date of the book, you start to slowly piece together what may have caused this until you get to that point in time where you see where the brothers came from, how their relationship grew, and how it kind of dissolved. And then once you get to that point in the story, then you start moving forward in 30 to 40 year chunks until you're back where you started. But in that back half of the book, armed with the background information of the family, you were able to piece things together and understand all of the characters more. And I think that worked really well because no one individual is siloed. Every person has a context, and family is a big part of someone's context and who they are and how they think and what they value. And it's so satisfying to get to go back through the different time periods with a new understanding of the family. And now every one of those characters has a context that you weren't aware of before, and everything suddenly makes a lot more sense. And I just loved that structure. And alongside that, you also get to see the gaps that start to form, because no person is going to be privy to their family's entire history. Inevitably, pieces of your family history are lost. And that's another added layer of this book, where you as the reader are privy to the entire family history, more or less. And you can see the points where the characters, as we're heading towards the future, the pieces of the history that they are missing and how that informs how they think. It's just really cool to read the story and to find out what pieces of the family history are they going to learn and what is going to remain a mystery to them, and what context are they going to lack for their own story. Those are some of my thoughts on Greenwood. I thought it was very compelling story-wise, really interesting characters, and a lot of layers to peel back and things to ponder. Please leave a comment below if you are planning to read this book, or if you've read it and want to have a chat about something. I would love to talk about this book. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll chat soon. Take care. Bye.